Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reading Room. I am Mark Reed. I'm going to be your host, presumably for the next few minutes at least, until you get sick of me and turn the channel. But welcome to another issue of Is God the A-hole? Yep, it's time again for that judging of your imaginary best friend that people seem to be really mad about. People get really mad about this particular show. I'm here for it. It's okay. God's very welcome to put in any complaint. I have an open email address. If God wants to email it, he's very welcome to. Very welcome to. And let's say hello to Stop the Stupidity. How you doing? You are cool sometimes. You're cool as a cucumber sometimes. Absolutely. I don't know how cool a cucumber is, to be quite frank with you. It's a weird saying, isn't it? Like, presumably, if you put a cucumber in the oven, it's not. Anyway, but the resting state of a cucumber is apparently pretty damn cool. So yeah, absolutely. Hi, Ember. Ember, my oftentimes partner in crime. My partner in crime. Hi, Ember. So good to see you. And left-handed Jedi who always graces us with his presence and mastery of the Force. How you doing? So there wasn't a lot of comments on the last one, so I sort of went to another video, which was my Satanic Panic video, which got a lot of people very, very angry. Very, very angry. I'm not exactly sure why this is the case. Some people felt that the Satanic Panic is a real thing. And look, okay, I admit the Satanic Panic was a real thing, as in the panic was real, but they seem to think what the panic was about was real. And maybe they didn't watch the thing and, sort of understand that when I said, hey, all of these things, there was horrible stuff happening that didn't justify the entirety of something like 12,000 claims made to police that there were satanic cults in the country, kind of thing. Like, just one instance of somebody doing something wrong that was confirmed doesn't justify all of the claims around it. Like, that really has to be done. Hey, guitarist. Jason, so good to see you, mate. Good to see you. And guitarista. Whew. Love that. Guitarista. Oof. It's awesome. But I did grab one of the comments that I thought was actually funny. So I will sort of I will sort of just sort of share that for a second. Oh, I'm cutting it off. Hold it. Yeah, there we go. Oops. Hold it. Want fascism to reign supreme. Would that mean you're one of those leftists that drank the globalist Kool-Aid? Diversity is our strength, orange man bad, and all that? And I responded with, being opposed to fascism is normal. Please refer to World War II if you have gone insane and lost your damn mind. I think that the 34 conviction felon sexual predator who cobbles up the Epstein files is bad. The color of his skin is irrelevant. So that's my opinion. You can disagree with me. You can think that fascism is the way to go. I really don't think so. Hey, Tori, so good to see you. So good to see you. Yeah, no, I totally agree, guitarist. It was a thing because people believed in it, and there were instances, like remote instances, of people doing horrible stuff and blaming it on a Satan, like just because there was one or two instances in the entire sort of decade of people doing horrible stuff doesn't mean that all of the claims were true and, satanic cults were popping out of the woodwork everywhere. It doesn't mean that that is the case. Like, that's sort of what I was pointing out in the video. But obviously, a lot of people didn't pay attention. Hi, Probing Time. Good to see you. But today, so that was my favorite comment. So I will be doing at the start of these just my favorite comment. Some of them are hilarious. Some they're just kind of sad. Like people saying evil is really real. It's like, yeah, most evil things aren't committed by satanic cultists. It's just rich assholes, quite frankly. Oh, my camera's a little blurry. Give me a sec. I'm gonna I'm gonna do a switcheroo. See if that. Thank you, thank you. But today we're going into the Bible again for our "Is God the A-hole?" Today we are doing Genesis 17 and 18, and I know all of you atheists, always have a Bible to hand. I keep mine down the front of my pants. I love a good hardcover down the front of my pants. That's so. Allow me to whip it out. I'm lying. I don't have a Bible down there. Come on, come on, come on. That was rage bait. I admit it. That was rage bait. I don't keep a Bible down the front of my pants. All right. I don't have to compensate for anything. I don't have to use the holy book to compensate for any lack. So that's fine. That's fine. 3 set in jail. Really? Yeah. No, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, really, like, if you think about it, it's just an extension of those Salem witch trials where, afterwards the judges said, yeah, none of them are probably witches. Whoops. Like, I think it was about 2,000 people were arrested and, some put to death over being witches when, the evidence was things like, oh, their neighbor had a dream that they were a witch. Wow. 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 But today we're doing, Genesis 17 and 18, which it gets wacky. And I love this. I love this segment. I love this show because it gets really wacky. But first we have Genesis 17. And am I the asshole? Hardcover. If you touch the cover, it pops up. Yeah. Okay. That's, yeah. Yeah. Just don't ask why it has a dust protector on it. Okay, just don't ask, left-handed Jedi. You got to protect your Bible. You have to. It's the good book. It's the good book. And wow, apparently, wow, the good book. And if you've been watching these, I think that exclusively people have voted on this and said, yeah, this is an arsehole move. And to call this the good book is yeah, that's the kind of evidence that we really love. Well, sort of the Salem witch trials were the end of what's called spectral evidence, and spectral evidence is stuff like visions and mystical stuff. We don't allow it anymore, which is a good thing. A good thing. So, I am Yahweh posts. Am I the arsehole for requiring a circumcision as a permanent sign of a covenant? I mean, initial thoughts, yeah, if you require anybody to cut any flesh off their child in order to say, hey, yeah, this is an agreement between the two of us, I've got problems. I've got problems. I make an agreement with somebody else, so I mutilate my child in order to show that person that I'm still agreeing to it. Now, that's bad enough. That's like bad enough. But add to that God's omniscient, so he would know if you are keeping the covenant or not. Just saying. So I, male, infinity years old, had a friend, Abraham, male, 99 years old. Yes, it does say he was 99 in here. Yeah. Who I had promised would father many children. He had one son called Ishmael by his bondswoman. Yeah, that was in the last one where poor Hagar, basically no choice about it. Yeah, you're gonna be having this person's child, and then you're gonna be treated poorly by his wife, who is resentful of you because you had his child. That's nice. By his bondswoman, but I felt that more action had to be taken to make good on the promise I had made him. I changed his name from Abram to Abraham, which was a sign that he would be the father of many nations. Yes. Someone was asking in the comments, when does his name change? And yeah, this is it. It's basically saying, oh, I'm going to give you a different name as a sign you will be the father of all these nations. Why that required a name change, I have no idea. I think that it's like Abraham. He doesn't believe God, and God's just trying to convince him over and over. It's kind of weird. It's very weird. I also changed Sarai's female, 90 years old. Sure, why not? Named to Sarah. I told Abraham that kings would come from him and that the covenant would be everlasting, extending to his descendants. I promised them the land of Canaan as a permanent possession. And yes, this is where the problem of Israel wanting, sort of believing that they have, or some parts of the Israel people believing that they have a right to all of the land around the Levant. This is where it comes from. And it's weird because he's not promising anything that he hasn't promised before. Like, God's already promised, when he was Abram, that he would be he would own all the lands he could see. He's already promised him this already. And he's already promised him more descendants than stars in the sky, basically. So, hey, Deviant. So good to see you. So good to see you. It was the... Yeah. Okay, so... Then I specified something concrete. Every male among them was to be circumcised. It would be a physical sign of the covenant carried in their flesh across generations. Any male not circumcised would be cut off from the people. And this is really, interesting because I didn't, so the Bible doesn't just say that you have to be circumcised. It says if you're not circumcised, you've got to shun this person. They would be cut off. And in those days, being cut off from your familial relations, from your clan, from your tribe, is a really big deal. That is a really big deal. This wasn't symbolic in a vague sense. It was invasive, painful, and permanent. My critics are often taken aback by this. They ask why a covenant of promise requires a bodily mark and why non-compliance carries exclusion. Yeah, it's a very weird thing that you need people to do this in order to be a part of the people, to be a part of your tribe. It's very weird because, has God not heard of contracts like paper or papyrus? Was that completely out of the question? Couldn't they carve it on stone or something like Moses did with the tablets? Was stone cutting not known? Was maybe God was illiterate at this point? I don't know. But there's got to be better ways to note down and record a contract than chopping off bits of your body. Even something that isn't so egregious kind of thing, I don't know, wearing a friendship bracelet, for Christ. Seriously, it would have the same effect. If you had to wear a friendship bracelet, or else you'd be shunned by the people, you'd be thrown out of your tribe. That would have the same effect without all the problems. I don't know. It's very, very weird. It's very weird. I also made it clear that Sarah herself would bear the promised son. Abraham laughed. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised he laughed. He's 100 and Sarah's 90. I think her best childbearing days are behind her, but yeah. He was nearly 100 and Sarah was well past childbearing years. He suggested Ishmael might be the fulfillment instead. I said no and told him that Ishmael would be blessed and multiplied. Apparently, Ishmael was described as a donkey of a man, but the covenant line would continue through a son born to Sarah who would be named Isaac. Okay, and this is a story of Ishmael and Isaac. I have got a lot of grief online by people saying that I have already promised lands and descendants, and now I am requiring physical mutilation in order to show that the agreement already made had been sealed. Yeah, which is kind of weird. That's kind of weird. They also point out that none of the children will be circumcised with consent, and it will be done without their permission. However, I am very big on covenants, and it seems like getting a massive blessing requires a massive sacrifice. Yeah, okay. But this wasn't. Do you feel like? I feel like there's kind of, you remember that Star Wars thing when Darth Vader was like, "I have altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further." That's how I feel like God is in this scene, right? That's how I feel like God is. Basically, he's gone to Abraham and said, "Hey, I'll make a covenant with you, and all of your descendants will be, all of these things, and you'll have authority over all the lands you see." And then the deal just keeps getting worse, right? Like, it keeps getting like, "Oh, you've got to do this, you've got to suffer through 400 years of your people suffering, you've got to do this." And now he's like, "Yeah, and you've got to cut pieces of yourself off." I feel like he's sort of like, I have altered the deal, pray I do not alter it further." Like, if it was me, I'd be like, it still just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm not sure about this one, champ. Am I the arsehole for promising land and descendants to Abraham, but requiring foreskins to be circumcised in order to do so? As always, we will be having a vote. You are welcome to vote any way you want. If you think it is more than amenable that that God adds the small print of foreskins, because why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you add that awesome small print of dick flesh? Wow. Is it possible to talk about this without like it sounding absolutely ridiculous? Was God an asshole for requiring foreskins to show his covenant? I find it hard to believe that an omniscient God is going like is sort of like, well, this is the best way that I can this is the best way I can keep the sign of this agreement. Oh, hey, Beta Ray, good to see you. Good to see you, Beta Ray. Oop, there you are. I will go through the comments while you are voting. Let me have a look. Oh, you're welcome, guitarist. That's no problem. I mean, I do also want to have some fun while the world is I mean, I'm took a news break over the last sort of couple of days because it's just so ridiculous what's happening out there. I just want to have some fun at times, and I have a very I'm not making this up. If you want to follow along with your Bible, this is the ridiculousness of the Old Testament. It really is bad. It's pretty bad. If she weighs the same as a duck, she's a witch. She turned me into a newt. I got better. That was probably my favorite. The turn me into a newt is awesome. Call me Ishmael. Yes, it was the opening line to Moby Dick. I believe he was named after this Ishmael. With our Yahweh, it's when in doubt, genocide. Well, yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's kind of that Yahweh sets these situations up and chooses how people will come out and then basically destroys them, but that's not a mistake for some reason. Yeah, babies have gotten herpes from rabbis and that's awful. Yeah. Yes, they have. I'm very aware of that. It's an absolutely disgusting practice. So in the ancient Levant, before they kind of knew about, I don't know, soap making and things like that, there may have been sort of a cleanliness aspect to it, but sort of modern medicine, when they look at it, it's not worth it. It's not worth the pain, the sensitivity issues. It really is a barbaric thing to do to a child. A lot of people have grown up circumcised, and they have sort of problems with their junk because it can sort of lead to a lack of sensitivity in the area down there. It's really, there's no good reason for doing it, especially with modern sort of hygiene and things. Absolutely zero reason for doing it. You know, it's absolutely pointless, absolutely pointless. But yeah, that is a thing. Since God doesn't exist, this shows what primitive cultures these people were in some style. Right, Guitarist said, but we don't sort of use presentism. They were doing what they thought was the best, thing at the time. These people, they didn't have access to the systems and processes and science that we have now, so we can't really blame them for it. But what we can do is hold to account people that still want to continue it. We've got to sort of say, hey, back in the day, that may have been, your ignorance may have been understandable. Today, it's not. It's just not. Like, ignorance is not, it's absolutely not an excuse, because there has been studies done on this kind of thing. Just be wary. Yeah. That was so good. That's one of my favorite Monty Python films, actually. But Life of Brian was great as well, and more apt for this, because Life of Brian was kind of, was God just a random dude who was held up as a messiah, even when he wasn't? It was actually hilarious. I feel like God is all about me, not about you. Well, yeah, of course. Of course. But it's interesting how often the what the God wants aligns with what the leaders of this sort of ancient civilization wanted. And of course, the only person that could speak to God are the prophets and the priests, the special people who went up the mountain kind of thing. I think that over the years, over the centuries and millennium, it's been interesting to see that gods used to be up on top of mountains, and in caves, in places hard to reach. And as we've explored them, will gods then move to the sky, like up in the sky? But as we've invented flight and we've been able to go into the sky, God's not in the sky anymore. He's in, the universe somewhere. But as we've explored the universe, God's outside of he just always is retreating. It's very interesting. That's the tactic of manipulators and scam artists. Yeah, essentially. You vote ETA on this one. Well, I presume you mean ESH. Everyone sucks here, or everyone's the arsehole. As I think you're either you're voting everyone's the arsehole, or the estimated time of arrival. Which is fair enough. How many boys would have died for that barbaric acts of virtually no sanitation? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot, tons, too many. But these people, they didn't know any different, and sort of that's why I mean, like, you can't really blame them. It's like, how many people died because they thought that bloodletting was a reasonable medical treatment for people, letting the bad blood out and, sort of letting them bleed all over the place. This was a medical treatment that people thought worked. A lot of people probably have died of that, for that as well. So, it isn't so much we go, well, it's just those people. It's people are constrained by the knowledge that they have at the time. And that's why we have to say that, hey, we need the most reliable way to evaluate our knowledge so people are treated well. We all know that God is an avid golfer, and humans misinterpret. He meant for And they okay. Okay. What I can't refute that. I cannot refute that. My Bible knowledge not so much. Hey Jinx, it's good to see you. But Yahweh, it was an oral contract. No, apparently it was a penile contract. Apparently. Apparently. Not my problem. If God was truly just, there'd be language in that contract barring God from changing the qualifications for the contract. That is true, actually. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's something we'd see as just him not altering the conditions. God designed us. He apparently thought we should have a foreskin. So what the fuck is with intentionally rejecting his design anyway? We don't know. Like, we don't know. I mean, it is postulated that they thought it was a hygiene thing. That it'd be easier to keep clean. Others have postulated sort of a sacrifice, like a blood sacrifice kind of thing. I don't know. But someone was high when they thought this up. Seriously. You're in Chicago, USA. I don't know a lot about Chicago guitarista. I don't. I want to talk to Kelly, a Detroit atheist queen, soon, so I can learn a bit more about Chicago because that's where she is. But all I know about Chicago, it's got high crime rates. That's about it. Look, I don't think you have a monopoly on idiots, mate. That's the thing. There are always people that will think that there's, a quick and easy solution, and there's always going to be people to prey on that to say the quick and easy solution is to blame everything on these group of people. And they're not doing it because they think it's going to solve the problem. They're doing it because it gives them power. It's sort of the way that populists have taken power since the beginning of populism. Just blame somebody else for all of the issues and then use that to gather support and therefore power for yourself. It's what they've always done. It's just we've got to be aware about it and push back on it. The problems of America isn't being caused by gay people or trans people or immigrants. They're just not. This whole idea that, get rid of the immigrants and suddenly it's going to be a glorious country of, wonderful things happening. What are you talking about? Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. But people don't realize that they're just, blaming a scapegoat in order to give somebody else power. It happens all around the world. We've got our own idiots over here. Don't worry about that, mate. 4 skins of 5. Didn't sign any contract with that guy. He's got a record of doing bad shit. But won by land, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Excellent point, as God supposedly never changes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, can you guess how much of the current world's population has herpes? See if you can guess the percentage without looking it up. Oof. I think I'm going to say 18%. 18%. 18%. How close am I? What percentage of the population of the world has herpes? 13.2% of the world's population aged 15 to 19 years. Oh, 2/3? Really? That's HSV2. That's only one of them. That's simplex virus 2. So I got to find both simplex 1 and 2. 67% of the population, 2/3 of the world's population. God damn. Ugh. Ugh. America's is 39%. Africa is 87%. Eastern Mediterranean 75%. Europe is 61%. Oh, that's a men. Okay. Well, I mean, they're roughly the same. Ugh. Hmm. Yeah, I do not have cold sores. I don't get cold sores. And I know this because I had a breakout of like I think it was a sore, right? But I went to the doctor and they tested it. No, it wasn't a cold sore. It wasn't herpes. So that's the closest that I've seen. But wow, that's scary. That's scary because that shit will stay with you for life. So yeah. Oof. Oof. It can lead to 33% less sensitivity, maybe more. That line is from well, I don't know the exact amount. I think that it definitely leads to less sensitivity, which can sort of it sort of makes sexual interaction less enjoyable for the guy, and I think that may be the point. In their way, they're like, well, don't derive pleasure from sex. That's for making babies. It's not for which is ridiculous. Like it's just so stupid. Hello, Titan. Good to see you. Everyone's the arthole, not us. Everyone in the story. Well, look, Abraham Lincoln perished from bloodletting. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, a lot of people have, though. A lot of people have. Female circumcision. Yeah, absolutely. Is an outdated cultural practice should be banned globally. Yes. What did children do before scalpels? Leave those kids alone. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is horrendous. But it's amazing how people will point to female circumcision and go, well, that's horrible and horrendous, and mutilating children is horrible, and then just be okay with circumcision of men, of boys. Like, why is one acceptable while the other is reprehensible? I don't understand that logic. Like, surely both of them are. But it's sort of that blind spot people have in their own religion, that intellectual sort of that they don't have consistency. It's an inconsistency across religions that, oh, Islam's bad, they do female genital mutilation, but mine that just does circumcision is fine. No, no, yours is not okay either. I was circum. Yeah, yeah, and that's they do not have the consent of the person probing. It's absolutely reprehensible, mate. Absolutely reprehensible. Um, did God do a Lemmy Winks with Mary to crawl up her intestines to her birth canal in order to birth himself to his own mum? Okay, well, for a start, you don't have to crawl up your intestines to get to the birth canal, my guy. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, your birth canal, the woman's birth canal is not connected to the intestines, mate. Okay. Uh, he may have had to crawl up a hoo-ha. Okay, this has gone well out of my control. Hey, Daryl Frost. Chicago has lower whacker I don't know what that means. To maintain her virginity. Oh, I see. I see. Oh, gotcha. Yes. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Presumably he just like miracle teleported himself in there. I have no idea. I have no idea. Scalp has been around since the first of homogeneous bang two pieces of flint together. Yeah, flint can be insanely sharp. Insanely sharp. According to John Cleese, Life of Brian was the only movie they actually followed a script and tried to stay sorta on it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Chicago crime rate sits hugely exaggerated compared to other US cities. Fashion inflated. Yeah, okay. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, there's other reasons for high crime rate. Like it's sort of all major cities have a disproportionate crime rate to country. It just that's the way that it is. Population, yeah, yeah, exactly. Titan, population, um, high population and high population density. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. Bye bye, Deviant. Take care. Good to see you. 100% impossible not to have a breakout. It's 100% impossible not to have it. Only time it is a breakout when it becomes an infection. Everyone has one form or another due to world inbreeding. Well, that's not true. No, not everybody has the simplex virus, because I've been tested and I do not have the simplex virus. Like, it is prevalent, obviously, way more than I thought, but not everyone. Pretty hard to measure. Yeah, I would agree. Hey, Kelly, so good to see you. I was just talking about you. Guess what the creator of Kellogg's cereal did to the innocent people of early ages? Well, look, Kellogg's cereal. I don't know. Are you going to let me know? Are you going to let me know? Seems like a desperate. Yeah, so I mean, I was thinking of doing a video about this, about the Epstein files, because the fact that the president is so to me, that's insane. Like, that is the most insane thing. Don't get me wrong, like, all of this sort of law breaking and stuff is bad, but to have somebody who is in charge of the country who is so prevalent in the worst conspiracy the world has ever seen, a global cabal that is trafficking and doing the most vile stuff on the planet, and that guy is the leader of your like, it is the most insane thing. I don't know how historians will comment on this period in time of history. They will look back and go, like, we had these evidence come out of a global cabal, a conspiracy, for these rich assholes to be able to traffic, murder, eat, do the most horrendous stuff in the history of civilization. And the guy who was in charge of the country was all throughout this information, had knowledge of it, was involved with it, like, almost certainly, in my opinion, was up to his neck in it, and he's still in charge. I don't understand how that's even possible. Like, how is history going to look back on this? It's insane. It's insane. I was not going to get into the physiology. Yeah, fair enough. Mary didn't have to be a virgin. Her mother did. No. Mary did the virgin birth because Jesus came from a virgin birth. So Mary never had to. You know what? There was a case, I believe, over, I think it was in Mexico or something, of a virgin birth. Like, some girl who was who had given fellatio, right, was pregnant and got stabbed by a knife. I'm not sure if that actually happened or was a myth, but it'd be interesting if it did happen. Dave, yeah. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Lauren Cox, 2010. Are you ready for this, people? I'm sorry about the white screen. I'm not sure how to change that. A strange tale of oral sex, a knife fight, and the most unlikely of pregnancies. In 1988, a 15-year-old girl living in the small southern African nation, oh, I was completely off. It was in Africa. Of course it was. Came to local doctors with all the symptoms of a woman in labor. At 15, that poor girl. Inspection of the vulva showed no vagina, only a shallow skin dimple. Her birth defect, called Mullerian angiogenesis, didn't surprise doctors, but her pregnancy did. Even the 15-year-old girl could not believe she was pregnant. The hospital staff realized the young woman in the hospital 278 days earlier with a knife wound to her stomach. Just before she was stabbed in the abdomen, she had practiced fellatio with her new boyfriend and was caught in the act by a former lover. The fight with the knives ensued. The girl arrived at the hospital with an empty stomach and therefore with little stomach acid around. Doctors found 2 holes from a stab wound that opened up her stomach into her abdominal cavity. A plausible explanation for this pregnancy is that the spermatozoa gained access to the reproductive organs via the injured gastrointestinal tract. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, virgin birth. Literally, virgin got pregnant. I do note though, I do note that the Christians don't use that one as evidence for a miracle. I wonder why. I wonder why. Mary herself was the result of a virgin birth. Okay. Really, I hadn't heard that. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I don't think that's in the Bible, Titan. I think that was sort of interpolated on top of it. Maybe Mary and her family got in got in knife fights a lot. I don't know. All right, I don't know. Internet says no, Titan. I mean, you might have been taught that, but I mean, look, you might have been taught that, but it doesn't seem to be like standard theology. About 70%, yeah. Oh, look, well, you know, it's just a thing. Probing. Don't be upset. It just is a thing. Yeah. Kellogg was a huge racist. You discussed it several times in the mutilation of both genders. Fair enough. About Kellogg? Well, I do know that Sanitarium, the cereal company, is like I think they're the Seventh Day Adventist or something. Like all of them are weird. I hate to say it, Matt, but they didn't form the cabal to do those things. They do those things so they can get away with it and form relationships with each other through shared experience. Yeah, I mean, there's sort of, I don't know. I don't know because, like, it's obvious from what I see that Epstein guy was drawing people in. He was going, "Hey, come to my wild party." So how much? I think it was maybe a bit of both, but whether the cabal formed around people who were just doing these awful things or whether like it formed drawing people into it, it still exists. It still exists, you know. Mary was the no. I don't know. Well, apparently not. Apparently not according to the internet. But hey, I don't, a lot of different denominations have a lot of different theology, so lol, I don't think that's how pregnancy works. That is how it worked. If you have spermatozoa in your stomach and it's punctured into your abdominal cavity where the womb is, you can get pregnant. I'm playing with, yeah, right, Gnostic Catholicism, it's silliness. Right. Yeah, no, there's tons of denominations that believe all kinds of crap. I mean, don't forget that I have done a fundamentalist fail. I've done a segment on people that think that Bigfoot is Jesus. Okay, so look, until you get up to the insanity of Bigfoot Jesus, they're quite tame by comparison. Okay, so whatever silliness you're talking, hang on. Yes, Bigfoot Jesus has to go into the chat. Yeah, no, that was wild. That was what. But was Bigfoot born without sin? Is the question. Right. Yeah, it's. I don't think it was immaculate though. Yeah, I think that her parents were saints, but it was a usual conception. I think, according to mainstream theology. How did you go on the thing? God is the arsehole. Yeah, I can't disagree. That is the vote for God is the arsehole. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody requesting in order to prove that you have an agreement with them that you've got to mutilate your child, no, you're instantly a complete and utter prick. Like you are evil in a way that is not is not a thing. That's how it usually works. Most people are stabbed into life. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. They had other theories. Some were weird. Sounds like most were weird. Uh, what are the odds? Oh, insane, astronomical odds. Probing astronomical odds, right? Like insane odds is the odds of that happening. But that's the thing. Like over the history of humanity, I mean that it's only one documented case. That is the only documented case. But you know, it's kind of what we've seen is that wild shit happens. You know, I think there was a case of a girl who released a balloon with her name on it in England, and it landed in the backyard of a girl with exactly the same name. Right? Like it is so unlikely. These things they can happen. Shit happens. Yeah, but Guitarista, I'm not talking about Bigfoot. I'm talking about Bigfoot Jesus. I am talking about Bigfoot, the Lord and Savior. Your Lord and Savior Bigfoot, okay? I'm not talking about just any old big. Look, when I squatch for the Lord, okay? Just accept it. Accept your Lord and Savior, the Sasquatch. The Sasquatch. Right, so now we're moving on to uh Genesis 18. Hey, Randy, long time no see. Thumbnail is provocative. What? It's too sexy for you? It's too sexy? I don't. It's provocative. Look, okay. I don't sure why a 90-year-old like giggling to themselves is provocative to you. I have no idea. But okay, okay. Um, Okay, and Genesis 18, again, from I Am Yahweh. He posts, am I the asshole for calling my best friend's wife a liar and then planning the destruction of a city over lunch? Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think anytime you're planning the destruction of a city, you're definitely on the wrong side of history. I think that, you know, please do not plan destruction of city. Like, just leave it alone. So a while back, I, male infinity, appeared to my best friend Abraham by the Oaks of Mamre, appearing as three visitors. Look, this is one of the places where they get the Trinity out of it, kind of thing. This is one. Oh, look, they were talking about the Trinity. Yeah, I don't know, because he appeared as a fire pot and smoke at one point. So I don't know about that. What was it? A fire pot and a torch? Does that mean that God's the Trinity and also like a fire pot? I'm not even questioning. After that whole fire pot and a torch, I am not even questioning. I'll see you, Guitarista. Yeah, take care, my friend. Absolutely. Take care. Like, after the entire fire pot and torch incident, I am not even questioning what God decides to appear. I mean, he could appear as a gerbil for all I know at this point. It's just ridiculous. But I'm not sure this is talking about the Trinity. But they do like to point it out. Hey, it's three people. Three is just, they love that number. Abraham was really generous and offered baked bread and prepared calf. I allowed the interaction to unfold naturally before revealing. Oh, it's a bit of veal for you there. Before revealing why I was there. During the meal, I stated plainly that Sarah would have a son within a year, even though she is 90 years old, apparently, allegedly. Sarah overheard from the tent and she laughed to herself. The biology made no sense because she was well past childbearing age. Yeah, she was 90. That's just a couple of years past when you can actually carry a child, for sure. And Abraham was even older. Yes, he was upwards of 100. Allegedly. I asked Abraham why she laughed and whether anything was too difficult for me. This feels like a trap. This feels like, Abraham, is there anything too difficult for me? Be careful how you ask, Abraham. Answer, Abraham. The very bad things could happen. Sarah denied laughing because she was afraid, but I called her out. Some people have said that I should not have pointed out her lie, but I call it like I see it. Yeah, it's kind of weird that your servants are absolutely petrified of you. I mean, people use God-fearing kind of thing, and it's like, are you omnibenevolent if all of your followers are petrified of you? Is that a good thing? Are you a good person if your followers are afraid to admit that they laughed because you said you were going to cause a 90-year-old woman to conceive? It really does strike me as something that if you have an omnibenevolent Lord, then they would be like, yeah, I understand why you would. You know, it's just very strange that everyone's so afraid of God. After that, I shifted the focus to nearby cities. I stated that the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah was great and that their sin was severe. I said I was going to see whether things were as bad as reported. Yeah, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? The thing that's wrong with this picture is God's got to go down and see whether things were as bad as what has been reported to him. I already knew because I am omniscient, but I did have to make an appearance so that I can say I saw. Look, it doesn't have to make sense. It really should, though. Like, why does God have to go down to confirm? And the book doesn't say, oh, he's just going down to make an... It says that he says, I have to go down and make sure that it is as bad as what's been reported to me. Why? If God's omniscient and is aware of everything at all times, why does he have to go anywhere to confirm anything? Presumably God knows exactly how bad it is. Presumably he knows. Why does he have to go down there? It's like that passage in Eden where, you know, Adam and Eve are hiding and he goes, where are you? Can't find Adam and Eve. And then they have to... It's like, why are you pretending that you don't know all of this stuff? Like, what's the point? There's so many instances in the Old Testament where God doesn't know what's going on, like, over there kind of thing. Like, I think historian Noah as well, as he goes down to earth and sees that people are evil, like discovers that they're evil. Like, there's no reason for him to do that. If he knows what happens at all times, like, he really has to go and find out stuff. He does, like in the Old Testament, he doesn't seem to have this omniscience that he has, you know, later stories down the track. He really is sort of, you know, wandering around and finding stuff out. It's very strange. And it doesn't make sense. Here's where things get ethically complicated. I chose to disclose my intention to destroy the city along with all the inhabitants to Abraham. And this is something that gets me, right? Like, if you destroy an entire city, right, you're like, oh, the city's full of sin and evil and they just do evil things. They, you know, just murder people and watch sex in the city 24/7. I don't know, they're just terrible people, right? What about, you know, pregnant women or infant children? Like, you're saying that there's a city with no infant children in it at all. Like, nobody worthy of being redeemed. You know, like, do the children in this city just come out evil? Do they just infant, the woman gives birth to the infant and already they're, zig hailing on the way out of the womb. Like, what are we talking about here? I find it hard to believe. And here's another question. What did the animals do that was so bad? Presumably, they didn't do anything. They just were hanging out at the time, with these wicked people. They didn't get a choice in that. I don't understand. I really don't. I reason that since he was to become a great nation and meant to instruct his household in justice, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, God. You are appealing to the man that made his slave bear his child and let his wife be really horrible to that slave because she was jealous. You're looking to that man to instruct your household in justice and righteousness. Okay, you couldn't have found anybody better. Nobody better at all. Okay, that's weird. That's not great. I will say it now. Anyway, justice and righteousness from and the guy that is currently going to mutilate the genitals of all his offspring because he believes he has an agreement with a god to do something, to give him all this stuff. That's the guy. That's the guy who's gonna... Okay. I would not conceal what he was about to do. Abraham responded by challenging me. He asked whether I would sweep away the righteous with the wicked. Yeah. He negotiated downwards from 50 righteous people to 10. So that's when he says, oh, will you destroy the city for the sake of 50 righteous people? Will you kill them as well? And God says, oh, well, if you can find 50 righteous people, I won't destroy the city. And then he says, oh, but if there's 45 righteous people, will you destroy the city on the behalf of like 5 righteous people, missing 5? And he says, no, if it's 45, I won't either. And he eventually gets down to 10 righteous people. The question becomes, why does an omnipotent God have to destroy everybody in this city? Why doesn't he just destroy the ones that are not righteous and leave all the rest? I don't understand. Are you saying there's not 10 babies in this massive city? There's not 10. Just saying. Each time I agreed for the sake of the righteous, the city would be spared. Abraham really did do a good job at bartering, and I think he got a bargain. And how is it that God can be negotiated down with? And here's the other thing. Shouldn't God know that there's not 10 righteous people? With God bartering, doesn't he know ahead of time what the results are? It's weird. This entire story is so strange. It's really strange. It's almost like it's made up. Because he's sort of saying, hey, there's not one good person in this city, including all of the people and all of the babies and all of the, infants and everybody and the pregnant women. There's not one innocent person in the entire city. No, Titan isn't an Aussie. No. I mean, he has the mentality of an Aussie. But definitely he's an honorary Aussie. Yeah, but surely God, when he's sitting there bartering, saying, okay, well, I won't destroy it if 50. God knows quite damn well that there's whoever's in there, right? God knew the outcome of what Abraham would find. I did not rebuke Abraham for questioning me. I allowed the negotiation. I affirmed that I would not destroy the city, even if a small number of righteous people were present. Yet I also did not promise infinite tolerance on corruption. The conversation ended with an unresolved tension hanging in the air. Some people have also pointed out that I knew exactly how many righteous people were in the city to begin with. Yes, God should have known exactly how many righteous people in the city were present. So, to be honest, you would say, listen, Abraham, there is not these people in the city. I know that. And I know that for sure. So why let him run around? I don't know. It's very strange. From my perspective, faith involves confronting impossibility and justice involves confronting corruption. So justice, from my view, is also not punishing those that are not guilty. And I find it hard to believe that in this entire city there's not one child, or not one innocent child who has never, you know, like I said, like they would have to come, or a pregnant woman who, you know, has a baby. Like, how can a baby be corrupt exactly? I don't know. I revealed my intentions rather than acting secretly, so at least I was honest. He does have a point. At least he was honest, yes. But sort of setting up a barter when you know it's not going to be met is kind of dishonest, because you're giving out false hope. You're saying, hey, I won't destroy it if you can find 5 people or 10 people. Go for it, Abraham. Knock yourself out. Isn't that false hope? Isn't that like, you know, he's not going to be able to do it? Which kind of seems like a dick move to me. You know, go and find out. Go and find out. I already know the answer. A bit of a dick move, my opinion. I invited dialogue rather than silencing doubt. But I also maintained that unchecked injustice has consequences. Still, I can see how it reads. I challenged private disbelief. I discussed destroying a city over lunch, and I allowed bargaining over lives. Am I the arsehole here? Well, I will put the poll up, but you can probably guess which way I'm voting. Yeah, you should never have a lunch and bargain for lives. You know, you should never do that. Is God the asshole? So, for bargaining lives over lunch with Abraham. Man. And like I keep saying, I find it very, very, very hard to believe that there was no babies in this city. Like, it's an entire city without a single... Everybody's an adult. Everybody's an adult. I find it very hard to believe. And so it sort of raises the question, well, what did that baby do wrong? How is that baby corrupt and evil? And if you tell me, hey, you know, he had to destroy the baby because if he didn't, he would have destroyed the parents. The baby would just be there by itself. Hey, that seems like it would solve Abraham's childlessness problem, right? If you get Abraham to raise the baby, that would solve everybody's problems without having to knock up a 90-year-old. Okay, that would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it? But, you know, God has this thing about bloodlines and ancestry and descent in this book, kind of like the people at the time did. It's always strange that God's aims and ambitions really line up with the people at the time. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see what the crowd has to say. Egg-laying creatures. Oh, look, there's, you know, I've been challenged before with that question. Which came first, chicken or the egg? The egg. Yeah, the egg. 100% the egg. Because reptiles lay eggs. Actually, there are sort of mammals that lay eggs. Monotremes. They are so cool. They are the extant monotremes are the platypus and the echidna. Monitor lizards. Monitor lizards? He should know before it happens. Yeah, absolutely he should know before it happens. He should know all of this before it happens. Right? He should know that circumcision is going to cause problems before he actually demands it. His ignorance of sort of, what's going to happen and what is happening is just incredible. Can't be omniscient and jealous. Can you be omniscient and jealous? I'm not sure that they're mutually exclusive. It seems weird. I will grant you, it seems weird. But I think it may be possible. It's so, even if it is possible, Theo, it absolutely is self-indulgent because what would happen and you're sort of indulging in that jealousy because you want it to happen, right? Like you made the circumstances at which that borne out. So I guess it's like, somebody indulging in their anger, working themselves up in order to feel righteously angry, which is sort of the Old Testament God sort of gets into this sort of working himself up into righteous anger, which is sort of very childish for a God, I will say. Don't quote me, but I think it's sea turtles. Temperature determines sex. I know that axolotl amphibians. So axolotl are cool. They are the Mexican walking fish. Axolotl are awesome. I love axolotl, but if their temperature changes or they're out of water for a certain amount of time, they will change their sex. Just saying. Almost like it's all made up. Yeah, Randy, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This really does seem like a mythological story. Like to sort of talk about this, all of these problems and say, well, no, this is a history book. This is history, is ridiculous. This is mythology. It reads like mythology. All the children were evil too. That's just logic. Look, I'm not saying there was no evil children. I find it hard to believe that every single child and baby was evil. That's what I'm saying. I find that very hard to believe. Turtles are the opposite of crocs. And many have parthenogenesis. Yeah. There are species that do parthenogenesis. That's why, I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, male and female exists throughout the animal kingdom. I'm like, no. Who was that? Was that girl, that Tanisha girl who sort of thought that male and female are the only things in nature? And it's like, no. And when I said some animals are asexual, she's like, oh, don't bring your wokeism into this. It was just ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I'm not talking about what? It was just weird. Your one-sided beach hatching. Komodo dragons just interest me because they're genetically stable, so a single virgin female could repopulate. That's interesting. Yeah. Some crayfish and some snakes are all female and don't need or have any males anymore too. Yeah, like parthenogenesis it's basically where the one member of the species, they can basically fertilize themselves. A good God-fearing Christian used to be the way the faithful like to describe themselves. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, some still do probing time. Some still do, that you should be afraid of God. And if God's omnibenevolent, why would you be afraid of them? It's a conundrum, right? Because they're sort of like, well, you should be afraid, but God's all good. So why wouldn't you just sort of have confidence that God will do a just and kind thing instead of torturing people? Sharks can also have, the offspring are all female. Yeah, okay. Okay. All dragons are pretty awesome. I'm inclined to agree. Komodo, certainly. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Freaking terrifying, though. God knew it was a bum deal because of all Abe's bargaining. Turns out the criteria wasn't met. Right, and God would have known that that criteria could not be met and would not be met. He already knew that ahead of time, which is weird that he's then sort of bartering with him because he knows already. according to the modern interpretation of God. He should know this already. A golf course, Hawkesbury near Windsor. Presumably someone snuck them in. I had a few scary experiences. Yeah, that's horrifying. The worst I ever saw on a golf course was kangaroos. Like, kangaroos would be bouncing across the golf course. I don't know which is scarier. Probably the Komodo dragons, because, you know, at the end of the day, kangaroos are herbivores and they generally will leave you alone if you leave them alone. Kangaroos are usually fine. Oh, welcome back, Guitarista. Welcome back. Yeah, we haven't got to the Book of Job yet, Beta Ray. We still got that coming. God attended. Hey, Aiden, good to see you. Attended several after-school specials, and then started out with the whole "there is neither Jew nor Greek" thing. Once the whole bloodline motive got a bit worn out. Right. So it was like, you know, this will be your blood descendant, and when that sort of collapsed, it's like, well, yeah, I think what you're talking about is actually Paul writing. So Paul wrote this, I believe, in, was it Romans he wrote it in? There is neither Jew nor Greek nor, you know, male nor female, etc., etc. Can't get angry if you knew what was going to happen. Well, you can, but that is very self-indulgent. Like, if you know that, say, you know, if you know ahead of time that, you know, slapping somebody on the ass is going to have them go, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, and you do it anyway, and then you get angry about it, you're being self-indulgent. You knew what was going to happen and then got angry about it. It's ridiculous, you know, and childish, because, you know, if you didn't want to get angry, don't do that thing. The Bible gets history wrong all over the place in the Old and New Testament. However, the Old Testament is particularly bad with things like camels in Egypt before we know they arrive in. Yeah, and I mean, the entire flood story is just ridiculous. There is so much evidence against the flood. It is ridiculous to think that there was a worldwide flood that just didn't interrupt the line of pharaohs, nor the Chinese civilization, nor the Japanese, you know, and just flooded the entire world without leaving a trace. It's ridiculous. It's almost like God hates babies. Yeah, you're not wrong, STS. Like, he is sort of destroying them in cities. He is drowning them in floods. He is chopping off pieces of their genitalia. It's not a great look. You know, it's almost like, I don't know, some 99-year-old guy is saying God tells me to do this, and really he's just a senile old fool. Maybe God had a light bulb moment. Was like, hey, I'll make a female for Adam. Yeah, well, presumably before that, Adam used parthenogenesis to, you know, breed. Oh, it's Galatians. Yeah, you're right. It is Paul, though. Yeah. Yeah, well, yes, he's supposedly speaking on God's behalf. Yes, that is true. If he wasn't, it wouldn't be in the Bible. Yes, canonically, he is speaking on God's behalf. I get you. I just don't think he was. I think that he just realized that, hey, if we limit this to Jewish people, we're going to have problems with numbers. Not numbers the book, numbers as in the amount of followers we can have. So, hey, let's open this up to the Gentiles, and we've got a whole new customer base we can sell this religion to. That's my personal belief. That's what I think. I think Paul was just a really good salesperson. But hey, that's just me. You're entitled to your own beliefs. That's fine. I'm not saying that's absolutely the truth. I'm just saying Paul did a lot. Oh, 100%. God is the asshole. Yeah. Please don't discuss destroying cities over lunch, whether you are a god or not. It's not a good look. It's not good practice. Even if it has evil people in it, please stop. Get help. I'm just reminded of that Michael Jordan question. Please stop. Get help. For sure. If it wasn't for Paul, Christianity would be in a similar place. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it would either be in a similar place as Zoroastrianism, or it would be in the same place as Mithraism, which is dead. It's a dead religion. Paul did so much for that religion. It was a good salesperson. Very, very good. Very, very good. Anyway, that is Genesis 17 and 18, and the consensus is God is a colossal asshole. Sorry, I didn't vote. I did not vote in this poll. That was the people talking. I don't get the Old Testament, and I really don't get God's just complete ignorance of stuff all over the place. Like, he talks like someone who is ignorant of things. He doesn't know where things are. He doesn't know what people are doing. He doesn't know the consequences for things. The Old Testament is a God that really does not understand anything that is happening in the world around him. Don't get me wrong. He kind of understands certain things when he goes and checks them out, but this omniscience isn't there. He just doesn't know this. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know where Adam and Eve are. He doesn't know if people are really evil in Sodom. He has no idea about these things. He has to go and he has to check them out. He has to go down into the city. He has to walk in the city and check them out. I mean, what kind of a God needs to do that? This God, apparently. But, you know, the only argument we get is, oh, he was just pretending. He knew already, but he was just telling him he had to do that for reasons. Who knows? It's all a song and dance. It's all a, you know, let's fool the humans into thinking that I've got to, you know, go down and look at these things. Or the alternative explanation is that he's not omniscient. He's got to actually go and look at these things in order to actually check them out. But this has been Is God the Arsehole, doing Genesis 17 and 18. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a bit of a blast. I always find it funny. These Old Testament passages are hilarious. And look, as long as you look at it in terms of, hey, it's mythology, it's stories, it's people trying to explain stuff, it's fine, you know, because, you know, when a city collapses, say, like Sodom collapsed, it wasn't God destroying it. They just, you know, maybe they had, you know, a fire that got out of control. And, you know, Abraham came along later and said, see, God destroyed them because they are my enemies. There was a lot of that stuff going on in that time. You know, natural events would happen and local leaders would go, see, my fill in the blank smote my enemies. There's a lot of that stuff going on. Hell, there's a lot of that stuff going on now. You know, there's a tornado. Whoa, it's because of the gays. The gays. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, it's not rocket science. They just take credit for everyday stuff, and that's what I think. That's what I think. But you may differ, and that's why we have a poll and a vote. But the vote is that God is a complete and utter schmuck who does awful things to good people, mutilates children, is wildly unaware of the consequences of his actions. Very, very human in nature. But anyway, be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.